Hi there, it's Polly here. With mi compadre, Mr. Snoots. Yay! Yeah, we're here to talk to you about White Star today. White Star. So this is a science fiction role-playing game. Its intent was to basically allow you to play Star Wars using basic Dungeons and Dragons as its framework game system. And in that, it succeeds. So, you can see there is this just one core rulebook. There is a supplement for it as well, which expands things. But so what have we got? Well, it's D&D in space. It's old style D&D in space. You have the usual characteristics. I kind of wish they'd rethought that because I find, okay, it is Star Wars. I guess wisdom's in there because, you know, the Force. But yeah, it's the usual. It's the 3d6 spread for each of these characteristics: strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. You've got kind of very old school bonuses for that. So I think, yeah, 15 to 18 gets you a +1. They've done that other thing that I actually find annoying in early D&Ds, where having high characteristics gives you an experience bonus to the experience that you earn. It's like, yeah, okay. So we're kind of pushing you into higher and higher levels. Are you earning more by being strong as a fighter or, you know, swift as a fighter pilot? Okay, all right. It's a mechanism. This was never one I found wildly useful, speaking from personal experience. But what you do for your characters is they've got set classes. So, aristocrat, which gives you some, you know, lots of weapon restrictions, of course. You're a powerful speaker, you get silver tongues, and you get bonuses for things involving charisma. All right. And they've done that basic D&D thing. When you get to high level, you can, you know, establish your strongholds. What's the planetary ruler? When an aristocrat reaches 8th level, they choose to establish rule over a planet. Really? Okay. Mercenaries, which is your fighter class. They're big and butch and can use any weapons. Pilots, they get bonuses on, you know, dogfighting and doing mechanical repairs, and also on saving throws and sneaky stuff. So that's basically your rogue characters. And then Star Knights, because we filed all the serial numbers off this, who of course have some mystic powers. Now, the Star Knights have mystic powers, meditations, and these are done like spells in original D&D. As you go up levels, you can do meditations of different levels, and the number increases as you go up. You don't get any of these meditations at first level, so basically no force powers for you at level 1. And you can use the amazing kind of what do they call it, Star Sword in this? Star Sword? Anyway, you can use everyone's favorite bright zoomy sword. Now, every single character's hit dice is done in D6. It's straight D6. Some will begin with a D6 +1, like the fighter get a D6 +1, and then your hit dice will go up as you go along. Not everyone gets an extra hit dice as they go up, so it's like, depends on the character class. Now, the thing with these character classes is they are limiting, and that's the thing that annoys me with Dungeons and Dragons. Character classes are not freeing, they are limiting. They tell you more what you can't do than what you can. I can only use certain type of weapons. I can only use certain types of armor. My abilities are limited in this way, and I can't do that because this other class here specializes in it. So I don't really have things. So, you know, so this is an interesting choice, and we'll get on to why you might choose this in a bit. But the other things that you can have, there are alien character races. They put two choices in there. So those things, if you're something vaguely humanoid, you could choose any of those core classes. But they've also put in alien brute, which is a big old honking thing. These are optional if the umpire doesn't want these things in their game. Alien brute, that's a Chewbacca, or it could be a Klingon. You know, some big, powerful alien that's really good at punching people. And they've got alien mystic, and these guys are ones that have got a some mystic abilities and meditations of their own, and are relatively weak, but insightful. And they've got robots down there. Robots, you can choose what you are made for. You could be a combat robot. You could be a diplomatic robot. You could be a technical robot. And each of these, like the combat ones, have armored bodies, and the diplomatic ones have all these sort of diplomacy bonuses, and can have followers and so on, like ordinary characters. But in that same original D&D style, they've limited the level you can go to anything that isn't core human. And I have to say, I despise that. Absolutely despise it. I despised it in original D&D and ignored it, and I despise it today. I think it's a bloody terrible mechanic. Humans can be infinite, and everyone else can just eat their chariot dust. It's like, so a robot, hey, I want to be C3PO, or I've got an idea, like what if I was like, it's actually kind of a secretary bot, but she's actually security. So she looks kind of slinky, and she's got a very demure attitude, and she's really good at she looks like she's a diplomatic thing, but really she's security. So she's quite, she's armored, and she's good at beating things up. That's fine, you can do that. But you can only go up to 4th level. That's it. We're done. You can only go up to 4th level. Everyone can go up to 500 million times your hit points and abilities, and that's it, because you just decided not to be human. Same goes, Chewbacca. Hey, I'm Chewbacca. I'm 1,000,000 years old and have been in 101 scrapes. Yeah, but you're only ever going to be 6th level. Really? Yeah, these guys can just keep going and surpass you because, he's just not human. I hate that. Anyway, doop-de-doop-de-doo. Now, weapons is kind of light, medium, heavy armor. It's the usual thing. You can choose ascending or descending armor class style, but essentially you're rolling a d20 and rolling high. Survivability. Okay, so clubs and knives. Say a knife's going to do a d6 -1. I presume you don't do 0 points. If you roll a 1, it just becomes a 1. Swords and things do a d6 +1. A lightsaber equivalent is doing a d6 +4. They got firearms and bows. A bow does a d6, etc. Why you would be firing a bow, I'm not sure, but what the hell. And they have no more or less armor penetration than blasters and things. So it's like, oh, okay, so it's as easy to penetrate someone's armor with a bow or a club as it is with, a giant honking great plasma weapon. All right, fair enough. But an actual, they got in here as a laser rifle, your blaster rifle, the standard thing. The thing most of the bad guy combatants are probably going to carry does 2d6 damage. A starting character's got 1d6 hit points. Or, if you're one of the mercenary characters, the fighters, you got 1d6 +1. I don't see character survival being great in a game where the average damage is 2d6 and the average amount of hit points you can take is 1d6. But what have you? You've got a fair array of equipment to buy. What else have we got here? So you've got the meditations. So there are different meditations for the Star Knights. So sort of things we've got there. Yeah, what have we got? Basically, they're spells from original D&D. What have we got? Charm Person, Detect Evil Good, Detect Life, Healing, Protection, Read Languages. That's all the level 1 ones. The second level ones do have some sort of combat coordination. Locate objects, speak with animals, find traps. So it's kind of like a combination of cleric and magic user stuff and druidical stuff from D&D, really. Heal Others is a later one, level 4. You can get to Confusion, you can get to Charm Creatures. Telekinesis is like at the highest possible level, so I'm not sure you're going to be out choking anybody out, or picking up bits of terrain or picking up those robots and tossing them aside until you're 10th level or something. So all right, fair enough. But they are in there. The Alien Mystics, because they don't get to be very high level. So Yoda is basically one of the examples they give here. Well, that's good, but Yoda can only go up to about 4th or 5th level. Hold Portal, Light, Purify Food and Drink at level 1. You can get a Hold Person. You can get Invisibility. You can get Levitate, Phantasmal Force, Fly, Invisibility too. All right, so again, some D&D style spells that you've got in there. There are rules in here for ship-to-ship combat. Again, quite simple. You're doing... you got vessels which have characteristics. They have an armor class, they have hit points, they have a shield strength, which is sort of what, damage. It's basically what their damage comes off. They got hit points and so on. And yes, you roll. Pilots always get an advantage. You see who gets an advantage. These add to your characteristics. And yeah, you can blaze away at each other. It's not a complex thing, and that is where I guess the strength of the system lies. We have some sample scenarios in here. We have some sample monsters and sandworms and bumbledogs and giant fleas and insects and wolflings and these sorts of things. Different aliens are in here. So, in a world where we've got things like Black Sun, which is quite a good, very simple set of Star Wars style rules, or where we do indeed have different specific Star Wars rules, like good old D6 or the D20 variant or the one that's out at the moment. Why would you choose this? And I guess the answer is simplicity. First off, you might just want to play D&D in space, and that's what this is. And you might want something that's very simple and that uses a system everyone knows so you can get playing. And that is the strength of this system. The 3d6 characteristics that we know, the characteristics are the ones we know, the bonus system is the ones we know. So essentially, if you want to do your D&D campaign in space, that's what these guys have offered you. A basic D&D in space. But it's not something you're going to have to do a lot of explaining to people who've played before. You can get in there and get playing. So that's really its strength. The psychic characters, the Jedi equivalent and the alien mystics, their powers are not so huge that they're going to dominate play, which is a worry with some of the other ones. If my main skills are, hey, I pilot really well and I'm okay with a blaster and I can jimmy open doors, and someone else in the party's abilities are, I can tell the future, stop blaster bolts from hitting me and choke you to death from, a few hundred kilometers away, there's a slight imbalance in the game we're playing. One of us is main cast and the rest of you are really supporting cast. So this does the D&D thing of making sure everyone is an ensemble that have powers that work together and no one's going to overshadow everyone. So that's the other thing. No one's going to overshadow anyone else. That's the strength of it. And simplicity, like there aren't complex dogfighting rules. We've got a ship with characteristics. We're going to roll to see who's in an advantageous position. Your guy's a pilot of this level, so he gets this bonus on the roll. You get to choose some options that the other guys don't. It's kept very, very simple that way. So you get a game out of it, and you get a simple game, and you get cool adventures. All right, that's great. I normally don't do a lot of this because, we like to be cheerful and upbeat. I think there's some problems with the game. I do think having a game that's got 2d6 damage for a basic weapon, when you've got people with 1d6 of hit points as a starting general, is going to cause spectacular casualties in starting parties. And because many of those character classes, they don't get a second hit dice when they get to second level. They might be third or fourth level before they get a second hit dice, because you might get at second level you might just add +1 to your hit points. So you could be second or third level before you've got the ability to take a hit, one singular. So don't get hit, which sounds fine, but there's not a lot you can do to avoid it because the umpire's going to throw you in things when people take shots at you. So yeah, I do see that as a problem. And I do find the whole thing of kind of really pushing back the alien characters into limited classes that limit their growth potential. Sure, the rules say, look, if you don't want to do this, just extrapolate these charts onwards and just ignore it. which is fine, but that's not presented as your first option, and it's clearly not really presented as the game design's intent. The intent in the charts they've given you is if someone's taken an alien or a robot, they're almost punished for it. So it's like, yeah, in a setting that could be so very open to your imagination, they have chosen some limits. With all that said, like I said, this is a game that you can get into very simply and very quickly and run good laser waving, light sword swinging adventures very easily, and get into the fun aspect of the whole kind of Star Wars-y thing, which is, exploring alien ruins and finding ancient, dark meditation widgets and beating up bad guys. So it's a game that you can just get into and play. It's up there on drive-through. Look, the production values are great. James Barnes' work, good designer. So it's well written, it's well laid out, and the quality of the actual thing is certainly great. Character sheets involved. On the drive-through site, there are adventures and so on for this, so you can download some of them and just get straight into playing. There's also adventures in the book, so you can get straight into playing. If you had to just do a pickup game and do one-shots for people, this is a really easy thing. So this is actually kind of a choice that you might want to carry at a convention, because particularly the hardcover is something you can just stick into your shoulder bag, where it's not going to get beaten around. People are bored. Take you about 5 minutes to do a character, boom, and you're playing. So, again, that's a strength. Pick up and play. So, anyway, that is White Star. Go and check it out if it sounds like your kind of thing. Anyway, we are going to keep reviewing games for you guys. Find me on Patreon. Find me on Facebook if you want to ask me about reviewing your games. Always happy to get hold of material from people to review. And hopefully I will see you around the game table someday. Okay, cheers everyone. Yay!